You're listening to the Experiencing God Day by Day podcast, brought to you by Blackaby Ministries International.
October 3rd. Weak with those who are weak. 2 Corinthians 11, verse 29. Who is weak, and I am not weak? Who is made to stumble, and I do not burn with indignation? Christians do not live in isolation. When we sin, there are repercussions throughout the Christian community. When a brother or sister suffers, we are affected. Our calling is not to be solitary Christians, but to be members of a priesthood. 1 Peter 2, verse 9. It was impossible for Paul to remain unmoved while there were believers in Corinth who were spiritually weak. When he learned that false teachers had caused Christians in Corinth to stumble in their faith, Paul burned with indignation. Paul told the church members at Corinth to rejoice when a church member rejoices, and to weep when a fellow member weeps. 1 Corinthians 12, verse 26. We depend on one another, and this influences everything we do. Jesus said that even when we pray, we are to begin by saying, Our Father. Matthew 6, verse 9. We must do everything with our fellow Christian in mind. 1 Corinthians 14, verse 12. It's possible to become so preoccupied with your own spiritual journey that you do not get involved in your church. You can become so focused on what God is doing in your own country that you are oblivious to the suffering and persecution that your fellow Christians face in countries around the world. If other believers around you are rejoicing or hurting and you are unaffected, you have become desensitized to the people of God. Ask God to place a burden on your heart for fellow believers. Make yourself aware of their needs. Pray for them and adjust your life to God's activity in their lives.
This podcast is based on the book Experiencing God Day by Day by Henry and Richard Blackaby, published by B&H Publishing Group. Music by Mark Brown.